Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to TRS Live, the podcast here. I am hosting the show, Matt Trotz. Justin is nowhere. Mike is nowhere. So I'm filling in, and we're going to be talking about the Latitude products that just came into the store. I know that Will's busting hump to get them on the website. But there's a lot of cool things going on right now. We are closing in on Labor Day, so that means we got dove season starting soon. Early teal soon is also starting soon. Like I'm going out to North Dakota starting next week, so we got some early whitetail seasons that are opening up. Also have like pronghorn season. So there's a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to kind of transition from last week's show with Justin and Kyle into some hunting talk today. So if you are in the chat, whether you're on Fixed TV, you're on Facebook or YouTube for The Real Shot, fire off some questions. Let us know if you have any trips planned this year, or let me know, not us. Well, Andy is here, but you can let me know if you got any trips or what kind of stuff's going on. But don't forget too that the fall bite, right? August is just about over. That means giant walleyes. We've been going crazy on the bay. Fishing is just going to start getting good again as we start getting us some colder temperatures. So if you haven't stopped by The Real Shop, talk to the amazing staff there, Justin, Nick, Mike, let's see, Ty for some of your bass talk, Andrew in the firearms department, the pew pew department. I mean, there's a lot of cool things. I know if you are looking for a new shotgun, and I'm just talking off a wing here, no wing shooting, no pun intended. Talk to Andrew. I believe he still has a surplus of shotguns that he needs to get rid of. He wants to get rid of so he can bring in some new areas. He's kind of branching off into that tactical world. Him and Andy, producer Andy, are working on some cool stuff for the show that Andrew hosts, Trigger Talk. So there's a lot of cool things. So call the store, 920-750-6140. Talk to the staff over there. Find some information. Get some of the latest and greatest, what they're biting on. I know the Hammer Gold, the Shiver Minnows, the spoons, all that stuff's been blowing off the shelves. It's a great time to live in the great state of Wisconsin with so much going on the Dude Factor. We talked about football season is here. Fall is a fantastic time once we get over this hump of this hot weather that's here right now. But I think that's just kind of helping things. I think there's a lot of people still catching fish. I mean, this is a chance to get out there, try some stuff maybe you've never tried before. So, we're really looking forward to that. So the one cool thing that's really taken, let's just say flight here in the last number of years is the saddle hunting. The saddle hunting is something that's been around for a long time, but you could say is it trending right now? Is it the latest and the greatest? I myself got into it last year, kind of dove in head first, had some really good luck with it. I found myself getting into trees that I couldn't normally get a platform stand into. I'm faster, I'm lighter, I'm more maneuverable depending on, what you're looking for. And I'm really looking forward to my trip out north Dakota is because there's a lot of open areas out there, cottonwoods. If you ever seen a cottonwood, go around Lake Winnebago. Those things grow straight. Sometimes they grow not straight, and you got to be able to get a platform in something in a spot where, maybe you're not going up 25 feet. Maybe you only need to go 8 to 10 feet to the bottom of the platform and get in the right amount of cover. So I think that's where we're going to talk to Alex this morning, the owner of Latitude, and really find out just how proficient you can really be with the saddle setup. So I got word from producer Andy that Alex Chop, the owner of Latitude Outdoors, is available and ready to join us. So you can roll him on in, Andy, if he's here. Good morning, Alex. Can you hear me?
Hey, guys. How are you?
Good, man. I appreciate you kind of on short notice making the time to join us today.
Yeah, hey, I really appreciate you guys having me on. It's always good to talk to new saddle guys and groups, and so I really appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, so first and foremost, I want to kind of get into, I know you have a limited amount of time today, so I don't want to eat up a lot of your time. Just give us the background of Latitude, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah, so Latitude, let's see, we started probably 4 years ago now. It's amazing. It's been that long already. But the company started. It's myself and then two of my best buddies. We've been longtime hunting and fishing buddies. And actually, my partner Kevin, he does a lot of our. He's focused on the product side of the business. So a lot of the design work and any product development stuff is handled by him. And he is just a brilliant guy, and he's a mechanical engineer by training. And so he came to us after he was done with football. He played college football at U of M, actually. And after he was done with that, he got back into hunting. And myself and our other partner, Jake, we've been, obsessive public land bow hunters forever. So he came to us, right, knowing that that's how we hunted. And it was kind of just the perfect scenario. We built them for ourselves in the beginning, and then it kind of turned into what Latitude is now. But yeah, that's really the story of how we got started. Just the three of us built them for ourselves, and we thought we might have something, so we ran with it.
Yeah, I really do think you have something. And for those who haven't checked out Latitude on YouTube, the Grit series that you guys just started putting out there, I'm addicted, man. I think it's a really good series that you guys got rolling on.
Yeah, thank you. We really appreciate that. The content side of the business is a little bit, it's new for us, right? And it's a little out of our comfort zone, to be totally honest. So I'm glad you're enjoying it. We've got Derek and Aaron. They're the ones who produce that show for us. Luckily, we don't have to do much other than tell the story, right, and hunt our butts off. So they're just incredibly talented. So it's good to hear you're enjoying it.
Yeah, and I think it really, for me, it hits home with what you said before, is the fact that you are a public land, you're a ground pound, get out there, figure things out on the fly. I really enjoy your series too, of how you break down the areas after the hunt, or what you're looking into as you travel, because you're out of Michigan, is that correct?
Yes. Yep.
So then I think one of the series you guys are hunting in your home state. Then you're the last one. I'm waiting for you got me in the ledge there with the Wisconsin series. I can't wait to see how that one ends. But I love to hear how you guys are figuring it all out.
Yeah, we certainly don't have some magic formula, right? And I guess if there's anything that I've personally figured out is just enjoying the process. I mean, we're traveling all over the place now, and we're very fortunate that we get to do that. But we're constantly in kind of uncomfortable situations, right? Situations that we're not familiar with. And there's a lot of, we make a lot of mistakes, and we try and show that in the series, right? Just because that's all part of the fun is that whole failure thing. And then when you finally get the opportunity and make something happen, it's that much more special, right? Because you went through that whole process. So that's really what we love about it. And we love the travel and exploring new areas. I mean, that's what we're passionate about. And that's how, the company is aligned and the products are aligned kind of with that passion. So,
yep. If I'm not mistaken, one of them were you in North or South Dakota? Wasn't that one of the first ones you guys dropped?
Nebraska.
Okay. Yeah. And now let's get into the portability, the lightweight, the convenience of the saddle. So I'm doing my best to kind of stay up to date here, but was the Classic the first saddle that you guys released, or was it the Method?
So we launched the Method. The Method is kind of our claim to fame, right? That's why we exist. That's the one that, the original concept of that 2-panel design. That's the one that Kevin originally had, and that's the one we were focused on. We decided to do a single panel, which is the Classic, just in case people preferred the single panel over the 2-panel.
Yep.
But our focus is certainly on that 2-panel design. That's where we see, at least in our minds, where the advantage is. So yeah, we got the 2-panel and the single panel, but the focus is certainly on that 2-panel concept.
So Andy has the website up here, and we're kind of looking at the saddle selection. So dumb it down for me. What is the biggest advantage to the 2-panel that you feel, is your go-to? And then where would somebody want that single panel? And what does that actually really mean?
So the biggest advantage to the 2-panel design, right, is the ability to be compact as you're moving through the woods, and then expand those panels when you get in the tree so you don't lose any comfort. So in the past, we felt like you had to choose. Do you want to be compact or do you want to be comfortable? And the method was, in our minds, the solution to that problem, kind of giving you the best of both worlds.
Okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to go. So the classic saddle, right? That's kind of your simple. It's straightforward. There's, you don't have to really dial in. There's a little bit more dialing in with the 2-panel, right? But once you get it dialed in, you set it and forget it. So some people prefer the simplicity of the single panel, but we're obviously biased, but in our minds, the 2-panel is the way to go. The classic, we're actually kind of figuring out what we're going to do with that. That might be discontinued here at some point. Just because sales data too, right? I mean,
yep.
I can't even tell you the exact number, but it is overwhelmingly favoring the 2-panel saddle. So
as far as with the 2-panel, you said dialing it in. What, as a consumer, what is a first-time saddle purchaser? What are those things? I know you can go on your YouTube and they can go on your website to kind of figure a lot of this out, but what is that dialing in process? What are you really emphasizing on in that?
So with the 2-panel, right, you have a lot more adjustment options than with a single panel. So when I say dialing in, it's really figuring out where you like those panels on your body. Some people like those panels spread really wide. So you got, you got back support, and then the lower panels below you, giving you support from below. But some people like to run them almost closer together. But just the ability to independently adjust top and bottom support, that's really the main thing you got to dial in. And it's a positive functionality of the 2-panel. You got to take the time to figure out where you want them. And then once you figure that out, when you hunt, you drop that panel down and you're good to go.
You're good to go. Okay. And I know Mike, the purchaser of the Real Shot, who unfortunately he's busy with bow work. He said, I love to come in here and talk with Alex and you, but I just got weeks and weeks of bow work. But when he ordered, I think he ordered the methods with the XL, and then there's just the original method too. So I think that's how we're branching into the Latitude. And then, obviously the big thing that you guys dropped too was the carbon, what is it, the SS climbing stick. Can you talk about this stick a little bit for me, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the sticks have been a very long and challenging process. It's a brand new technology. Well, not a new technology in other industries. It's been used in aerospace and automotive for a while, but it's obviously brand new to the hunting world. So about 3 years ago, we partnered with actually one of the largest carbon manufacturers in the world, and we collaborated with them on the design. And for us, the goal was to create a stick with premium specs in terms of weight and packability, and then have it at a price point too that was affordable.
Yep.
Delivering the advantages of carbon fiber at a price point that everyone could afford was one of our main goals there. They're a single piece design, so there's no moving parts, there's no hardware, which was something that was attractive to us when we started the process. We wanted to eliminate all that stuff that can come loose over time. So yeah, I mean, we're really proud of them. We are relieved that they're finally getting out the door, because it has been a heck of a process to get those where they needed to be. So.
Yeah, I don't foresee these lasting very long. I know I'm trying to convince Mike to let me take a set to North Dakota next week when I head out there for the opener. And I like everything you're talking about. The other thing that I think a lot of people are going to appreciate is the very little noise that's there, even when they're stacked together, like there's just hardly any noise at all, which is when you're trying to be stealthy, slip into a bedding area, that's the big time. That's the advantage right there.
Yeah, and that's something you see with the saddles for us too, is just eliminating metal. Metal we just feel just isn't the best material for hunting in general, right? I mean, even the thermodynamic properties of metal, right? I mean, it's cold to the touch. These, when you touch them and it's freezing out, they're warm, and they are quieter. I mean, they're still a hard material, right? So they're going to make noise, but the noise isn't that unnatural metal noise that those mature bucks, they know what that is, at least in our opinion.
Yep.
So that was definitely the whole metal free thing is something we do focus on that.
So the one thing with the sticks, now I want us to kind of drive this point home a little bit. It's fastened together, or it's not strapped to the tree, but it's adhered to the tree by a rope. Okay. Now, when I used to work for Muddy back in the day, and they came out with their climbing stick with the climbing rope, a lot of people, they looked me dead in the eye and they said, I would never trust my life to this climbing rope. And they didn't understand the tensile strength of this rope. Now with you guys, you have an even smaller diameter cord or rope, whatever one you want to call it. And, how do you, what's the selling point, or what's the convincing point to somebody's like, you want me to trust my life, 8, 10, 20 feet in the air to this little rope?
Yeah. Yeah. So I totally understand people's perception of that. Right. And it's crazy because that little tiny rope is actually stronger than your cam buckle straps by far. And so
far.
it's odd to look at that, but from an engineering perspective, right, strength wise, there's no comparison to the cam buckle strap, especially when you factor in the functionality of it. So.
And the other thing that's really nice too, unlike the cam buckle, is you gave the consumer, you have, how long is the rope?
They're 8 feet.
8 feet. So you gave plenty of what do we want to call it? It's not rope. What is the actual material of it?
It's a Dyneema, like Amsteel is the brand name that everybody's familiar with. You hear that all throughout the mobile hunting community. So that's what that material is.
Amsteel. Okay. So you gave plenty of this Amsteel, to get around some of those bigger trees, which I run into a lot with certain stick brands and other things. Like there's just not enough of that strap to get around. Now you have to move to the tree that's not in the most desirable location.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's something that they're not extremely longer than your cam buckle strap, but we did add a little length to them just because we've run into that too, right? Where we want to get in that tree and we just don't have room on the cam buckle strap. So we did want to make sure that they were long enough.
Yep. I think that's really awesome. So, the platform, I'm going to grab this platform here. This is the what is it? The Rebel series, the Rebel Speed platform. Can you talk about the platform for us a little bit?
Yeah. So we have, so that's our Rebel, and we also have an X-Wing. Now the Rebel is more of your standard platform for people who want a little bit more surface area under their feet. So the goal with that platform was to optimize that ratio of surface area to weight. So it gives you plenty of foot room, but it's also extremely lightweight at 2.7 pounds.
Okay.
You'll also notice on there the angles on the outer perimeter of the platform. So those are designed to help with a couple different things. The angles on the side of the platform, the way that those are angled kind of out away from the tree, those are designed specifically so that you can counteract that pull into the tree that you sometimes feel with a saddle. And then the back angles there are obviously for if you want to spin around the tree. And something, actually, that's a perfect image you have up there. So this is really important. And this is something that's unique to us, and something that we've actually we went through and did the patent process on because it's so important. So you'll notice that those back edges are in front of the pivot point on the post. And if those back edges are behind that pivot point. The platform can uncam if you put pressure on that back edge. So it's a simple design feature, but it's extremely important, and that's something that's unique to the Rebel and the X-Wing.
Well, that makes a ton of sense because the benefits of saddle hunting are virtually 360 degrees. So as you move to, let's say, one side of the platform and the other side, those with some other companies, that could be the weak point. That's where you get that platform kick out that, you don't want to have. So for you guys to figure that out, that's just awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. And we figured it out just through prototypes, right? I mean, we went through and we said, well, look, the advantage of a saddle is to be able to shoot around the tree, and that back edge better work right. So we had a lot of problems in the beginning trying to figure that out. And it's funny when it ends up being such a simple thing, but it was an important thing for us to figure out, because we can't tell people to use the back edge if it doesn't work right. So
yeah, if it's not binding to the tree. And the other thing too is the size of the they're right? Some trees they're not all created equal. Some, if you get like a shagbark hickory, that extra bark, I mean, that bite that you have on the back of the platform is really going to dig in no matter what kind of tree you're sitting in.
Yeah, you'll see the teeth on the back there are beveled too, so that helps. The reason for that is to help proper camming. So that helps with your bite, and that's why you see bevels on the teeth. And then the adjustment knob too. Another just kind of simple thing, and my partner Jake came up with this, but that knob that allows you to adjust the pitch of your platform, that's actually raised above the top surface of the platform. And the purpose of that is so that you can adjust that adjustment knob with your foot rather than having to get off your platform onto your last stick and do it with your hand.
That's genius.
Yeah,
I've never would have figured that out unless you pointed that out right now.
Yeah, I mean it's a stupid simple thing, right? But it makes a world of difference when you're up there trying to get set up quick. So
yep. Okay, so I want to kind of talk about like the novice, right? I talked about how I kind of got into the saddle hunting world hardcore last year. I have experience climbing trees and stuff like that, so I know they're not the same saddles, but the ideas are the same. But are all your saddles, like Andy has here on your website, if you purchase like the kit, it virtually comes with everything you need, right?
yeah, so if you buy the kit, it'll come with the saddle, a dump pouch, and then a tether and a lineman belt. So that's everything that you need from a saddle perspective to get in the tree. And then you just need something to put your feet on, which is a platform, and then something to get up the tree, your climbing sticks.
Yep. Okay. Now, the ascenders. Can you talk a little bit more? I know they're not in the kit, right? But what are the benefits of the? I think it's ascenders, right? What are the benefits, or your Prusik knot, of that versus just running the straight Prusik without anything on it?
So the number one advantage to those mechanical ascenders is single hand adjustability. So those allow you to adjust the length of your rope, lineman belt, or tether with one hand. Now, our ropes come with what's called a tender. So you'll see there's a little, it's probably a 4-inch long piece of webbing with two plastic D-loops on it.
Yep.
We have those installed on our ropes, and they come like that out of the package so that you can achieve that single hand adjustment without a mechanical ascender. Now, it's not quite as smooth using the knot and tender versus the mechanical ascender, but it still allows you to adjust with a single hand. So what I do is I have on my tether, I leave it as it comes out of the package. And then my lineman belt, I will install a mechanical ascender on. And that's just because when I'm climbing the tree, I want to be able to really quickly and smoothly adjust the length of my lineman belt, just as a safety thing. And I never adjust the length of my tether when I'm hunting. So everybody's different with that. But for me personally, it's set and I don't do anything with it. So
So for you with your tether, what's your if I I don't know you personally. I've just seen you through the YouTube stuff and on your socials. You look like you're a taller gentleman. So what for you is like ideal height? Because they always say like nose height, chin height. You got to find what's comfortable for you. But what is the best for Alex?
I'm right in between. I'm at my mouth basically with
Okay.
my tether. And I will tell you, after talking to hundreds, maybe thousands of people getting set up with saddles at this point, I'll tell you that with our stuff, that is the sweet spot, somewhere in between your nose and your chin.
Okay. And that gives optimum, when you're sitting back, and then it allows you to quick make adjustments if you have to, spin, put the rope across your chest to shoot this way or that way, whatever it may be.
So that you're bringing up a good point. So I also never spin and put my tether over my chest.
Explain.
I actually don't do that. So if I need to take a backside shot, right, I'm doing one of two things. I'm either taking my bow and going up over my tether and my bridge and shooting like this,
yep,
or I'm spinning all the way around to shoot. So that's an important point to bring up. If you are somebody who wants to do that, where you stand up like in a tree stand and put the tether over your chest, you're going to have it higher.
Yeah.
So, and I think maybe part of the reason that I don't do that is that I like my tether lower.
Okay.
So it's a trade-off there, because as your tether gets higher, that angle off the tree gets steeper, right? And that can cause more pinch in the saddle. So you got to find a balance there and decide how you want to handle that.
Yep.
But for me, my backside shots are taken by rotating around and using my platform, the edges of that back edge of the platform that we were talking about.
Yep.
Or I'm going up and over. So.
And that's where, like, obviously you could pull it off, right? You could come into the reel shot, pick up a full latitude set, get out there, and you could shoot a deer if the season opened tomorrow, right? But that's where this is something that there's a learning curve to hunting out of a saddle. And now is the time, if you are looking to get into it or looking to advance some of your skills, get up in the tree. Don't go high first. Go one stick and then the platform, but really learn where the strengths and where the weaknesses are. Because like you said, you don't like the tether over the shoulder, but you had to figure that out on your own.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there is a little bit of a learning curve. The reality is that if you've spent time hunting out of a tree stand, if you've spent time hunting at height at all, you're going to be okay in a saddle. There's going to be these little one-off scenarios, right, that you'll figure out over time, like the going over the bridge for the backside shot. And the reality is that if you're setting up right or relatively right, you shouldn't even really have to take that backside shot that often. And the other thing to keep in mind is that backside shot can be made as a front side shot by going around the tree too on that opposite side.
So do you actually mean by like going around the tree? Are you like, you said you're going on like almost the backside of the platform and kind of leaning around the tree?
Yeah. So this is kind of hard without a visual, but
yep.
If my backside shot is over here, I can actually spin around the tree and take the shot that way.
Got ya.
Now, you can add a ring of steps to your platform, which they're just the little L-shaped steps. And we actually, on the front of that platform, there's a slot on the front of the post of the platform.
Okay, right here.
Yep. And that slot is there so you can integrate a ring of steps. And the reason for that is so that you can put your strap in there for the ring of steps and it vertically aligns it for you. So that when you're setting it, it's easier to do.
That's on both of the platforms?
Yes. Yep.
Jeez. And that's why it's really nice to talk to, the owner or somebody that uses them every single day, because, and I'm sure, again, you check out the website and YouTube channel, but, I was wondering what the heck that was. I thought it was if you wanted an extra strap on there to help really secure it, really bite it down. Not to say it needs it, but if you wanted it. But I never would have guessed that you have that additions you can use with this.
Yeah. Yep. And that's another advantage. Like if you really want your some people they don't want that. There's a little give, right? If you get a really extreme push off the tree, there's a little tiny bit of give on any platform. And that's impossible to avoid from a design standpoint. But
Yep.
if you want it really glued to the tree, you can add a ring of steps and then it's cemented to the tree and you can walk around the tree. So
yeah, when we were talking about with this Rebel platform, okay, like it's a bigger platform. It's kind of, it has a lot more areas to it. What about the other platform? Where is the advantages to that platform versus when you wouldn't want to run the Rebel?
So the X-Wing is designed for even more pivoting support. So there's a couple different things. The X-Wing, it has the wings coming out right, and then a long platform coming off the front. And so what that does is those wings allow you to have a more natural stance, a wider, more natural kind of athletic stance when you're sitting in the tree. But this is really hard without me having a visual to show you guys, but the outside edge of the front of the platform there, the long part of that center section of the platform, that outside edge along with the front edge of the wing, those are perpendicular to each other, right? So what you can do is actually get your foot in there and you have support on both sides of your foot for pivoting. And all that does is help you avoid that feeling of being pulled into the tree.
Okay.
And the reason that exists, and I'm kind of biased to this platform because this one was my baby, but the reason for that is because I was on the side edge of one of my platforms and I had a doe come in and she pinned me down and I ended up actually slipping off the side of that platform. And so I wanted that perpendicular edge, which is the front, there you go, which is the front edge of the wing so that I could have the side of my foot interact with that to counteract that pull into the tree.
Got ya.
So that was kind of a complicated and poorly worded description, but that's why that exists the way that it does.
No, I mean, it's a great, and I think again, if anybody's really has more in-depth questions, now how would they, if they had more in-depth questions, what's the best way for them to reach out to Latitude? Is it through social media? Is it through the website?
Yeah, the best way to do it is to use either email us, which is explore@latitudeoutdoors.com, or you can use, there's a chat function on the website. Those are the two main communication channels in terms of customer service. Our socials are they're just berated, right? And we can't keep up. The people managing the social are not the customer service people. So if you have questions or order questions or anything like that, you'll definitely want to email or use the chat on the website.
Because I'm sure one of the biggest questions you get or Latitude gets is, what saddle is right for me? What platform? What stick? What other benefits or what other accessories should I add to the platform or to my setup?
Yeah. We do get quite a few questions on sizing because we have two different sizes of the method saddle. And just as a rule of thumb, if you have a waist size 35 or above, you'll probably want the XL.
Okay.
If you're 34 and below, the regular size is perfect for you. And I say that with a little asterisk on it because we've got my partner, for example, he's got a 38-inch waist, but he loves the regular size. So there is a little bit of that personal preference thing, which is, we're so thankful to be partnered with guys like you, right? Like, so that people can come try them. That's why we wanted to partner with the dealers, is so that it gave you the opportunity to come in and try them on. The reality is they are kind of like a pair of jeans and they fit everybody a little bit different. So if you have the opportunity to try them on, I definitely recommend that.
That's a really good point. And again, if I'm taking up too much of your time, Alex, you can just say,
Oh,
Matt,
you're
I got to
good.
run. I'm busy. I got to go scouting or whatever it is. But now, as a dealer, as the real shot, let's say I have producer Andy coming in, no experience, looking to get into it. Unless I get you in a tree, unless I get you out there in the elements, like what are some things as a consumer that they should be kind of looking for besides the fit, besides the other accessories? Like, I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but like you get those hard questions like, well, what is this going to feel like when I'm 10 feet off, when I'm 20 feet off? Like, how do you answer those questions so when somebody leaves, they're happy with the purchase they made?
Yeah. So I guess if a new customer coming in, right, the big thing that you want to figure out is what do they think is important as a hunter? And I'll give you an example. Like for me, I place more importance on compact and how it wears as I'm moving through the woods. Because the reality is that I'm actually moving through the woods probably more than I'm sitting in the tree.
Okay.
And so that's a hunting style question, and that's extremely important, right? Because you know, you can get a huge saddle that's going to be like a hammock, right? The problem is when you're walking around with it, it's going to feel like a big saggy thing. It's going to get caught on stuff whenever you're moving through anything thick. So kind of figuring out what is your style. Are you somebody who's flying around all the time and you love exploring new areas? That's what you're excited about and that's what you love to do. Then you're going to want to make sure you get something that's compact, right? And
Yep.
then for in the tree, adjustability is everything. So some saddles are more adjustable than others. The two panel design, right, is going to give you the most adjustability out of any saddle, and that's any two panel, right? There are others on the market, not just ours.
Yep.
Um, but there's no question about that. If being compact and adjustable is important, the two panel is the way to go. Now,
Okay.
somebody who's there are saddle guys who have presets, right? They're not flying around too much. If that's your preference, then getting one of the large, huge saddles that is almost like a hammock on your body might be the better option for you. So it's just, I think it's a hunting style question. It
Yep.
is a big thing. And just understanding that as long as you take the time to dial in the adjustments on a saddle, like the Method or, maybe some other two panels, right? You will be able to find that comfort, but you got to take the time to do it.
Got
So
ya. Is one of the big misconceptions of a saddle the comfort, right? Like I can't rut hunt, a 12-hour day out of a saddle. I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions out there. They're super comfortable. Again, once you have it dialed in.
yeah, I mean, one of the things that we see a lot that people don't necessarily understand is that you can hunt all day in a saddle. We do it all the time. And the thing to understand is that when you're up there, you can make adjustments throughout the day to make the saddle feel totally different. In other words, a saddle allows you to transfer weight, right? So you can make adjustments so that your saddle is taking more weight or your feet is taking more weight. So if I'm up there and my feet start to get fatigued, I can make a small adjustment on my saddle. And now most of my weight is actually, in my butt, in my saddle to give my
Yep.
feet a break and vice versa. Whereas with a tree stand, and I'm not one of those people that's like saddles are the only way to go. I will say
Yeah.
that. So uh, but with a tree stand, right, you're sitting in that thing one way the entire time. You don't have the ability to make adjustments so that feels different on your body as you're sitting there. Your back's going to sit there and feel that way the whole time.
Yep.
So learning those adjustments I think it's overwhelming for some people. But I will say that it's not hard at all to figure out. It just literally, if you take 2 hours when you get your saddle at ground level and just play around with the adjustments, I guess I should mention what the adjustments are, right?
Yeah.
You got tether height, you got bridge length, and you got your bridge loop adjustments, which adjusts the angle of pull in the saddle. And then that's really it. So those three things, you knock those out and figure out how changing them affects the feel of the saddle. And you can be comfortable for days out there, right? Because then you're adjusting as you're fatiguing in certain areas.
Yep. I want to talk about two different things. Before we leave adjustment though, the leg adjustment, right, where it comes underneath the legs. If I'm not, sorry, I stepped away. If I'm not mistaken, yours are they detachable? That's what I have here in front of me.
Yeah. So we designed those leg straps to be removable, and the reason for that is there's a lot of people out there that don't like to walk in with their leg straps hooked up, because it's binding, right, as you're walking around. It kind of goes back to that same thing of, for me, I place preference on, or priority on, how is my saddle working as I'm running through the woods, because I'm constantly on the move. So we designed those so that you can leave them off and put them in your pocket when you're walking around, and then when you're ready to get up in the tree, you can put them on.
Okay. I like that, because one thing that I think maybe gets overlooked, maybe it doesn't, is the, how can we say it, the chafing area. If you are doing a lot of walking, I agree with you. Like with my saddle that I currently run, my leg straps are off until I get to the base of the tree, or until I start to make my climb, and then I strap up. But like that walking, that maneuvering, like that adds some binding to the area that you don't want binding on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're doing that, like mobile public land, run and gun style stuff, I mean, you're going to be moving, and you're going to be figuring out how to get away from people. And it's just, you got to be comfortable when you're running around the woods.
Yep. And that's especially important for, Nebraska, or let's say the North Dakota trip that I'm making, because you go out there, let's say you're glassing from a high ridge, and you locate some bucks. Now, maybe it turns in from a potential saddle setup to now I'm spot and stock. Well, I don't want to take everything off, and, maybe I forget the onyx where I put it, or whatever the heck it is. But leave it all on the backpack, leave it all on you, and go spot and stalk that deer. And you still have that portability, that lightweight, and you still have the freedom of virtually not even knowing that you still have the saddle on.
Yeah. So that's a great point, right? And that's another advantage of just saddles in general, is that if you go into a scenario, every time I go in the woods, I have no idea, for the most part, if I'm going to be in a tree or if I'm going to be on the ground. And so that's another huge advantage of the saddle, right? Is because you don't have to deal with having the extra bulk of a tree stand or whatever it may be. But that's certainly an advantage.
Yeah. And I think one thing that too is kind of point out is the platform could also just be like a portable seat. You could put this at, butt height, kneeling height, whatever, seat height, on a tree off a trail, or if that you can't get into, maybe you're in scrub oaks or you're in short cedars or something like that. You could strap this to the base of the tree and still have a nice, comfortable seat to sit on.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people do that, and a lot of people will even sit in their saddle normal at ground height. And in fact, and we've had elk guys do that too. And so you're exactly right. There's just a lot of
turkey guys. Do turkey guys do that stuff?
I've heard of. I'm not a turkey guy, so I'm a little removed from the turkey world, but I would imagine that that's happening too.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, it just goes to show you that you're not just getting in a tree all the time with the saddle. Like, obviously that's kind of the bread and butter. And what I found last year is, pine trees are something that I always kind of hated with a platform, even on a run and gun tree stand, because you either got to prune or it's, all that kind of stuff. But the benefits of a pine tree or a cedar tree are I can get low and have great cover. This very little pruning, especially on public land where you can't always cut branches, this stuff is going to allow you to get at that maximum height and then still be effective.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the benefit too. That's how we look at everything, right? Is like, we want our stuff to work for any opportunity. And a lot of people jump right to that public land versus private land thing. And technically, I fall in that public land hunter category. But I always tell people, I'm like, dude, I'm an opportunist. Like, if I have a chance to, in fact, you'll see that there's a grid episode going tonight live.
Ooh.
And you'll see in that I get permission to hunt a spot because the public got screwed up. And so that's how we look at everything, right? We want our stuff to work in any scenario so that any opportunity comes up, you can at least make an attempt on it. So I agree with all that. I mean, that's the most important thing to us is flexibility.
All right. I have a question for you. And Brian, the owner of the company, hates when I announce I have a question. That's my job, is to ask questions. But what is, besides the platform, besides the stick, besides the saddle, what is one accessory, like of your guys's, that is often not utilized enough, or one that you really say, like, boy, you really need these? I have them in front of me. I think I know what it's going to be, but what is one other piece of gear that you recommend with the saddle?
Yeah, I mean, and I kind of overlooked this earlier, but you're the gear strap, right? Like, you need something to hook your backpack into, and you need something to hook your bow on. So our gear strap is it's kind of unique. There's several different options out there. Ours comes with 5 loops. Those are all movable and removable. So we wanted to make sure that you aren't carrying in extra bulk. And that's why we made the loops removable. For example, I only have 2 loops on mine. So I take 3 of them off. And so I got my bow hook on one, and then I use the other one for any accessories that I might have, rangefinder, whatever it might be.
Yep.
And then there's a backpack, adjustable backpack strap. And that's actually the tag end of your connection on the tree. And this is another, I call it a stupid, simple thing, right? The stupid, simple solutions are usually the best, but that backpack strap allows you to single-hand adjust the height of your backpack in the tree. And so if you need something, you can reach down with one hand and pull your backpack up. And then when you don't need your pack, you can take that and adjust it and move it down out of your way. Whereas there are other straps, right, where your backpack's in a fixed location. So you got to decide, do you want it accessible and kind of in your way, or do you want it inaccessible and out of your way? So that's kind of our solution to that.
All right. Those are, again, I'm glad I'm talking to you, because I would have thought it would have been the knee pads.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, maybe that's for me. I just think, like, not utilizing knee pads last year, I was like, dang, a guy really needs a nice set of knee pads for this.
Yeah.
And I noticed that you hunt with the knee pads quite a bit, and it makes a lot of sense. I mean, when you're looking for that all day comfort, the ability, I'm a fidgeter, right? I'm not very still in my stand. I've got called out for that before. That's why the benefit of the saddle, placing the tree between you and the animal. But once in a while, I'll swing into the tree and rest my knees, kind of give everything a break. And if I didn't have the knee pads, man, my knees were getting all beat up.
Yeah, I mean, the knee pads are definitely important if you're ever going to, sit in your saddle with your knees on the tree. Something that does get overlooked is shooting out of a saddle. A huge advantage to a saddle that no one really talks about is the ability to have extra stability in your shot, because you're able to put a knee into the tree. And you don't necessarily need knee pads to do that, but you will want them, because your knees will get sore without them, obviously. But yeah, that's a good point. I mean, knee pads are important. I wear them every time I hunt. I wear them into the woods. Those knee pads have an articulated top on them. And that's an important design aspect, because if you don't have that, your knee pads will slowly drag down as you're walking, just with your knee bending.
Yep.
And the top strap on those is also elastic, which helps with that. It prevents it from being pulled down as you're walking through the woods. So our knee pads specifically are designed to wear in and out of the woods, and they won't slip down on you. That was something that was, personally important to us. So we made sure of that.
And then just the fact too that I'm looking at these and I'm like, these are also like dual purpose for not in the woods. You could, if you're a contractor, if you're a landscaper, if you're flooring installer, anything where you're crawling around on your knees all day long, the purchase of these is not only good for unfortunately, the short deer season that we get in some of our states, but wear it when you're weeding. Get a pair for your wife when she's crawling around, or you're crawling around the garden and doing a little mulching or weeding, gardening, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we have a ton of people. I get messages all the time like, I'm using these for at work now and all this stuff. So yeah, I mean, they're nice, heavy duty knee pads. We upgraded all the Cordura on there too to make them more durable, just for long term wear and stuff. So they are they're a heavy duty knee pad. They'll work for whatever you want to use them for outside of the season too. So.
Well, perfect. This is super helpful for me as I gain knowledge and I kind of build my arsenal. And it's cool to see that, every company out there has certain benefits to their stuff. And that's why I think the world of saddle hunting, it's kind of like a cauldron, right? We take a little of this, sprinkle a little of that guy, sprinkle a little of this guy, and you make the setup that fits you the best. Obviously, Latitude offers everything that everybody would need. You don't need to go elsewhere, but if you did, there's so many benefits to so many different saddle setups and companies out there that I think Latitude's trying to why you don't really need to go anywhere else, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right though. Like, there's a lot of good options out there. That's one of the cool things about the saddle market in general right now, is that you have a ton of awesome options, and just finding what fits your style, right? At the end of the day, the people behind the company, their personalities and hunting styles, they end up bleeding into the product, right? At least we focus on that. We believe in that. We want to believe in what we're putting out there for people to buy. So a lot of our hunting personality, will say, comes out in the product. So our stuff is really built for those people who want to explore, and they want to go to unfamiliar places and try new areas, new terrain types, and just have a different experience, right? And so that's what you see with a lot of our stuff.
Any insiders information, the Grit series products, any little tidbits that you can kind of leave us with before we let you get on with your Friday? Any new release products, anything cool like that?
Yeah, well, we do. So we do have a couple new things coming out. This isn't much of a tidbit, but we do have some new things coming out, which we usually will. We've got a couple big projects coming up. Stuff we've been working on for a while. You'll likely see one of those at ATA this year. And then we do have another additional product. It's actually a one stick. And we put that out at a show, so that's kind of public. It's not released for sale or anything like that, but we do have one in the works. So that's something to look out for, probably later this fall.
Okay. And that's a whole nother show. We could cover the one sticking, that's something that I've never even dabbled with, but that's a whole nother world of advancement in saddle hunting.
Yeah. I mean, I will say I'm not the right guy to have that conversation anyway, because I'm not a one sticker. So I'll be the first one to say that. I've obviously done it, and it's just not my style. Another one of those cool things about saddle hunting is that you can do it however you want to do it. But yeah, in terms of some little tidbits for you, we'll probably have a major product launch at ATA, and then you might see that one stick later this fall. But don't quote me on that. So,
and then what time does the new Grit drop tonight?
It's 5 p.m. Eastern time.
Yeah. All right, I'm looking forward to that. And then last thing is, let people know where they can find all the information on Latitude, website, socials, and everything like that, please.
Yeah, so product information, definitely the website and YouTube for that matter. All of our videos are on YouTube, so there's some good educational content on there. And then our socials, Instagram, Facebook, that's where we do a lot of the public communication, right? Updates on things, that's all done on our social channels. And so, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. If you're not following those, we appreciate you following so we can keep doing the grit stuff and all that. But that's the best way to follow along. And then if you have specific questions, shoot us an email, explore@latitudeoutdoors.com. And then there is a chat box on the website as well if you want a quick answer.
Perfect. Well, we appreciate it, Alex. Where's the first hunt for you this 2023 season?
Headed back to Nebraska on Tuesday.
Oh, well, good luck, man. Be safe. I can't wait to follow along on your social media platforms to track and see how that hunt goes for you.
Yeah. Hey, good luck to you too. You're going to North Dakota?
Yeah. I might have to text you and hit you up for some stuff so I could get out there and be safe and effective.
Yeah. Shoot. Yeah. Send me a text. Just however I can give you my number. So.
All right. Well, thanks, Alex. Enjoy your Friday, buddy. Have a great weekend.
All right. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, there you go, everybody. So much information. And how long was that, Andy? About really 45 minutes worth of knowledge that we got out of them. And there's so much to learn with the saddle hunting world that I'm getting excited about. I know a lot of you are getting excited about. Do us a favor. This product, watch for the Latitude stuff, to hit the Real Shot website. We do carry other saddles from Trophy Line, other sticks, other platforms from the Trophy Line. So we have a good option here at the Real Shot, whether it's the Latitude brand. Alex did a good job of convincing me. Hopefully he convinced you, or you're a fan of the Trophy Line. That's what I'm running right now. I like that stuff too, but it's neat to have the options. And when you come into the Real Shot, to try them on, to see the 2-panel fit versus the single panel fit, to grab these carbon sticks, man. These are real deal Holyfields right here, and I'm pretty darn excited about these. And don't be afraid, like we kind of mentioned, to mix and match. Some brands do something this brand does this better. You like them, mix and match a little bit. So hopefully you learned a little bit more about the saddle hunting world. I do recommend, though, if you're going to the saddle, now is the time. It's crunch time right now. Get them purchased through the Real Shot. Watch for them on therealshot.com. Get them and get in a tree. Start small. Start at the ground level, like Alex mentioned. Kind of wiggle yourself around. Get used to all the adjustments, how this does, what this does, everything like that before you start climbing. And then it's the next. Your platform installation, then your stick installation. I know there's a little special, with the setup, with the rope with this to set these up to make sure that you're safe and effective. You don't want your first trip out to be the first time you're learning how to use your saddle, especially in the dark. You're going up in the dark. Sometimes you're coming down in the dark. You got to know how to, get in and out of the tree safely. The nice thing about the saddle is if you do it correctly, you should always have 2 points of contact. Not like the same with your platforms, right? Like if you have your lifeline drop down, and while you're constantly connected to that, but between disconnecting your tether, throw your linemans around, make sure that on your descend you're constantly attached to that tree. These sticks are all tough, they're ready to hold you, but why take a gamble? Let's make it home safely to family and friends this 2023-24 deer season. So again, everybody, thanks for watching TRS Live Podcast. I don't know what Justin and Mike and all the crew has in mind for next week, Friday. But again, if you have any questions, reach out to the Real Shot social media. There's YouTube, there's Facebook, there's Instagram. Will is doing a great job with his Facebook and Instagram. We do have a TikTok page. Fix TV, obviously, you can check out there for some of the cool shows that are coming out. I know I have a Guided Life coming out, and not to plug my own show, but then I'm planning on doing my best to film my North Dakota trip in the best way I can, solo filming that. So, reach out to there. So if you have any questions, store is 920-750-6140, 1919 East Calumet Street here in Appleton. If you want to come try on some of the Latitude products, or therealshot.com. So enjoy your Friday, everybody. Get out there, do a little scouting, do a little fishing, do a little shooting, whatever it may be, but be safe and have a great weekend. And we will see you next Friday. I won't. I'll be in North Dakota, but they'll see you next Friday at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time.